Florida Builder's Risk Insurance Explained. If you're building or renovating a property in Florida, Builder's Risk Insurance can be one of the most important policies on the entire project. And because this is Florida, you also have to think about hurricanes, theft, water damage, and rising construction costs. In this video, I'll explain what Builder's Risk Insurance covers, what it doesn't cover, why Florida is different, and the biggest mistakes people make when buying it. What is Builder's Risk Insurance? Builder's Risk Insurance is temporary coverage designed to protect a property while it's in the course of construction. Think of it as insurance for a building before it's finished. A standard homeowner's policy or commercial property policy usually won't cover an active construction project. Builder's Risk Insurance policies can help protect you here. It'll also protect the structure being built, construction materials in transit, and sometimes certain projects can cover soft costs such as changes in the architectural plans or project delays. In Florida, this coverage matters even more because projects are exposed to hurricanes, wind-driven rain, theft, vandalism, and water damage. And if you're using financing, your lender will often require that you purchase this coverage before construction begins. A secondary note here is if you're working with a lender, even if the project's only going to take 6 months, you probably need a full year-long policy. So who needs this coverage? Builder's Risk Insurance is commonly used to cover the new home construction, spec homes, commercial construction projects, major renovations, additions, and large remodeling projects. The policy can usually be purchased by the property owner, the general contractor, or the developer. The key is making sure everyone who needs protection is properly listed on the policy. What does it cover? The structure itself. If the building is damaged during construction, the policy may help with repairs. The building materials, whether installed on the project or just delivered and waiting to be installed, the policy may protect you for this. Fire damage. Construction site fires happen more often than you might realize. So if you're almost done and a fire starts, the Builder's Risk policy can help protect you. Theft and vandalism. One of the most common claims we see is theft of the HVAC system for the copper piping. So it's important to make sure that it's protected on your Builder's Risk policy. And then of course, wind and storm damage. Whether it's just a bad windstorm or a named hurricane, windstorm is one of the most important coverages to have on your Builder's Risk policy. What's not covered? Some common exclusions on the Builder's Risk policy that you need to be aware of to make sure that you are being protected. Flood damage. Just like a home or commercial property policy, Builder's Risk policies most often exclude flood damage and would need to be purchased separately, again with rare exception. So make sure if you are in one of the high risk flood zones, you have this protection. Faulty workmanship. If you hire a contractor and they do a poor job building the home, the Builder's Risk policy is not going to cover that faulty workmanship. You would have to go after the builder. Wear and tear. If there is normal breakdown in the construction, that is not going to be covered by the Builder's Risk policy. Last and most importantly, and I want to emphasize this because I'm seeing a lot of other agents out there discussing this coverage as a protection, and that is liability. Builder's Risk is property coverage only. It does not provide or replace general liability coverage. So any type of slip and fall or property damage, bodily harm to somebody else, you would need to purchase that coverage separately, as well as if you are the property owner, making sure your contractor has the general liability coverage. Why is Florida different? This seems like an obvious question, but let's discuss it. Florida is one of the toughest insurance markets in the country right now. Carriers are paying close attention to your coastal exposure, how close you are to the water, the hurricane risk, certain areas are more prone to hurricanes, construction type, and project security. Insurance companies may also require detailed construction budgets, project timelines, contractor experience, and security measures for the job site. The larger the project, the more information the insurance company is going to need. Another big issue is rising construction costs, making sure that your project is adequately protected for the cost of the construction. Next thing, let's talk about biggest mistakes to avoid. This one we hear all the time, waiting too long. If you get too far into the construction project, magic number typically being 30%, if you're 30% or more complete, you're not gonna have an easy time, nearly impossible to get the builder's risk insurance. So don't wait too long. In fact, talk to an agent before you even start the project to know when you need to put coverage in place. Assuming flood is included. As we spoke about, with rare exceptions, some policies will cover flood, but most do not. And oftentimes here in Florida, you do need that flood protection. Underinsuring the project. From experience, I can tell you the cost of construction is going up and it's gonna come in higher than what you were budgeting for. So be prepared. Expect that you will need more coverage than you anticipate and really dive into what you expect to pay to build the project to make sure that you're adequately protecting and not underinsuring the project. Buying based solely on price. This can be a big and costly in the long run mistake. Oftentimes, the cheapest policy is the cheapest policy for a reason, and you may be sacrificing some very important protections. So don't just look at the bottom number, look at all of the things in between to make sure that you're not giving up a valuable protection for your project. If you're planning a construction project in Florida and want help understanding builder's risk insurance, please feel free to reach out. We help contractors, investors, homeowners, and developers and make sure they're properly protected before construction even begins. And if this video helped you, like the video, subscribe for more Florida insurance content on builder's risk and other lines, and leave your questions in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.